A massive storm system is coming to the United States over the next couple of days, and this thing just took a significant turn in the last several hours because the models that came in this morning have dramatically shifted the forecast in a way that affects millions of people who were not even in the conversation yesterday. We are talking about a storm that is going to bring a long list of serious problems all at once, including a significant severe weather threat with damaging winds, very large hail, and tornadoes, a major blizzard for the Central Plains and Upper Midwest, an extremely critical fire weather situation across the Southern Plains, and a widespread corridor of 40 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts stretching from the Rockies all the way back through the Ohio Valley and into the East Coast. And the reason this storm just took a big turn is because the latest data is now showing the system deepening to somewhere around 979 to 981 millibars at its peak intensity, which would make it one of the strongest storm systems ever recorded in the month of May when it comes to barometric pressure. This is not a normal storm. This is an exceptionally powerful and dangerous system. And in today's forecast, we are going to break down exactly what you need to know about it in extreme detail. We have got a lot of ground to cover, so let us get right into it. Let us start with what is happening right now, because the storm is already on the move and the first impacts are already beginning to show up. The system is currently sitting just west of the Rockies, and it is pulling an enormous amount of moisture simultaneously out of the Pacific and up from Timnastua, the Gulf of Mexico, and that dual moisture feed is going to fuel an extraordinarily active, severe weather stretch that is going to roll from tonight all the way through Wednesday. 3 consecutive days of significant, severe weather potential from one storm system. That alone tells you how powerful and how long-track this setup is going to be. And the Storm Prediction Center has already acknowledged the scope of this, with risk areas outlined from the Central Plains all the way back into Florida and up the East Coast. We have a lot of severe weather to break down, so let us go through it day by day, starting with tonight. Tonight, the primary focus for severe weather is going to be across central and southern Oklahoma and into North Texas, where an enhanced risk of severe weather is now in place. The main concern tonight is going to be damaging winds, as we are anticipating a line of thunderstorms to upscale very quickly across both Oklahoma and Texas once initiation gets going. But here's the thing about tonight that I want to make very clear, because this is where the forecast just shifted. The tornado parameter values across western Oklahoma tonight are extraordinarily high. We are looking at values in the 8 and 9 range on the significant tornado parameter scale across western and central Oklahoma, right around the 10 to 11 in the evening window. Those are values that indicate an extremely favorable environment for tornadoes, if any discrete surface-based storms can get going before everything merges into a line. And here is what makes this tricky. If this storm system was even 6 hours faster in its progression, we would almost certainly be talking about a substantial tornado outbreak tonight. The timing is what is limiting the tornado potential and keeping this more focused on the wind threat. But if any storms manage to become surface-based and discrete along that frontal boundary in western Oklahoma before 10 or 11 tonight, I am not ruling out an isolated strong tornado. Storms are not expected to really fire off until about 10 to 11 Central Time tonight, which means that incredibly favorable tornado environment in western Oklahoma is largely going to go unused for the most dangerous discrete storm mode. However, once that line forms, it is going to move fast, and embedded tornadoes within the line are absolutely possible through midnight and beyond. Oklahoma City, you are looking at that line moving through somewhere around 1 to 2 in the morning. Further south down near Abilene and Wichita Falls, the cap holds until about 1 to 2 in the morning, and then storms fire along that boundary and push east toward the Dallas, Fort Worth metro by around 4 to 5 in the morning. This is a nocturnal, severe weather threat, and that means you absolutely must have multiple ways to receive alerts that will wake you up if you are asleep anywhere from western Oklahoma through North Texas tonight. We are planning on going live tonight, starting around 10 to 11, so make sure you are subscribed and have the bell icon clicked so you get notified when we go live. I want to start today with a single line from the Weather Prediction Center's latest public discussion, issued this morning at 5:47 a.m. Eastern. It is one of those rare sentences that forecasters only write when they genuinely mean it. A major multi-phase storm system will impact virtually every region of the contiguous United States over the next 7 days, with significant hazards expected from the Pacific coast to the Atlantic seaboard. Every region. Not most regions, not large portions of the country. Every region. That is not dramatic language from a cable news chyron. That is the Weather Prediction Center, the same office that coordinates national forecast guidance for all 122 NWS field offices, telling you in plain operational language that no one is sitting this one out. The Pacific Northwest gets it first, the Rockies get it second, the Plains get it third, the Midwest gets it fourth, the South gets it fifth, and the Northeast gets it last, but it gets it. If you live in the continental United States, this storm system has your name on it somewhere in the 7-day outlook. Today is the day to pay attention, not tomorrow when the first watches are posted, not the day the warnings go up. Today. Let me tell you exactly what is coming and exactly why it is going to be as significant as the models are suggesting. It starts offshore. It always starts offshore. A deep upper-level trough has been digging southward off the Pacific coast for the last 36 hours, pulling cold air from the Gulf of Alaska southward into a region that has been running warmer than normal at the surface for most of the past month. When you stack cold air aloft on top of warm, moisture-laden surface air, you build instability. And when that instability is focused by a tightening pressure gradient along a well-defined frontal boundary, you do not get scattered showers. You get an organized, coherent storm system with enough energy to survive a coast-to-coast transit of the United States without falling apart. That is what the models are showing, and they have been showing it consistently for 4 days now. When GFS, the European and the Canadian, all agree on the same general solution for 4 days running, forecasters take that seriously. This is not a case of one rogue model run suggesting something dramatic. This is a case of every major modeling system telling the same story from 4 days out, which is about as much confidence as operational forecasting ever gets. Here is how it unfolds, region by region, because the hazards are different depending on where you are, and I want to be precise about what each area should actually prepare for. The Pacific Northwest takes the first hit beginning tonight and into tomorrow. The leading edge of the system will push onshore across northern California, Oregon, and Washington as a cold front with a surge of subtropical moisture feeding into it from the southwest. This is an atmospheric river signature on the water vapor imagery, not a classical Pacific frontal system. Atmospheric rivers carry somewhere between 7 and 15 times the average flow of water at the mouth of the Mississippi River. They are not subtle weather events. When one of these moisture plumes aims at a coastline, you measure the results in inches per hour, not tenths of an inch per day. Rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour are possible along the Oregon Coast Range and the Cascades tomorrow morning. Total rainfall accumulations of 4 to 8 inches over 36 hours are expected in the terrain-enhanced zones, with localized totals near 10 inches possible, where the flow is most directly perpendicular to the mountain ranges. The rivers in this region, particularly the Willamette, the Chehalis, and the Snoqualmie, are already running above seasonal normal from recent rainfall. Additional 4 to 8 inch totals on top of saturated soils mean rapid river rises. If you are in a flood-prone area of western Oregon or western Washington, do not wait for a watch to be issued. Do your flood preparedness tonight, because watches will become warnings faster than people expect when soils are already wet. Behind the Pacific front, the atmosphere does not relax. The upper-level trough deepens as it moves inland, and what was a rain-dominant event on the coast transitions into a snow event for the interior mountains. The Cascades, the Northern Rockies, and eventually the Colorado Rockies are all in the snow corridor as this system pushes east. Snow levels will drop to 3,000 feet in the Northern Rockies by Wednesday and to 4,000 feet in Colorado by Thursday. Passes including Snoqualmie, Stevens, and Marias in the northern tier, and Vail Pass, Eisenhower Tunnel, and Wolf Creek in Colorado will see significant accumulation. If you are planning mountain travel anywhere in the western interior this week, check road conditions the morning you travel, not the night before. These situations evolve faster than a 12-hour-old forecast can capture. Now, the part that makes this storm system different from a typical Pacific intrusion is what happens when it exits the Rockies and encounters the plains. Most Pacific systems weaken as they cross the mountains. They leave their moisture on the western slopes, drop their energy budget through orographic processes, and arrive on the high plains as a much diminished system. Not this one. The upper-level energy feeding this trough is deep enough and cold enough that a secondary surface low is expected to develop on the lee side of the Rockies, most likely in the Colorado-Kansas border region, by late Wednesday into Thursday. Lee cyclogenesis. The process where a dying Pacific system essentially gives birth to a new plains storm in the exact corridor that has generated some of the most violent weather in American history. The question the models are debating right now is how quickly that secondary low deepens. And that question matters enormously, because the difference between a low that deepens slowly and a low that deepens explosively is the difference between a significant storm and a generational one. The European model has been consistently deeper and faster with the secondary development than the American GFS. When the European model has been right in these situations historically, the results have involved words like historic and record-breaking. We are not there yet in terms of forecast confidence, but the possibility is on the table, and it deserves to be named plainly. For the Central Plains, specifically Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Missouri, Thursday through Friday represents the peak threat window. Ahead of the deepening surface low, a warm sector will establish itself with surface temperatures in the 70s and dew points in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Behind the low, temperatures will be 30 degrees colder. That temperature contrast along a tightening frontal boundary, combined with strong wind shear from a 100-knot jet streak at 300 millibars overhead, is a severe weather setup, not a marginal setup, not a borderline setup, a textbook, well-forced, large-scale severe weather setup with multiple tornado, large hail, and damaging wind hazards possible.